Welcome to week 112 on Verse TV. Now, this is called The Homos Do You Believe in Love Before Love? And it's coming from a show on the All Black app called Social Society. And the question is, how do we love ourselves before loving someone else? Now, Dr. Lex said that she doesn't fully agree with the idea that outside love first requires self love. And she gave an example of babies being loved by many before they even are taught how to love. And without that pressure, you can give yourself some grace for your flaws. Now, my question, if you were in a counseling session with Dr. Lex and she said that to you, how would you respond and why? And Chrissy, you're first, followed by Shy, followed by Duquan, and Differently Capable.
Well, as a mother of four, I understand that. I understand that. I have two daughters and two sons, and I love my children. And I think I'm able to teach them how to love, but I do think it's important for me to love myself first, because I can't be the mother that they would need me to be if I didn't, if I weren't getting enough rest, if I weren't responsible for things, like I'm responsible for bills and making sure they eat. I have to keep them alive. So, until they're able to take care of themselves on their own. So I have to lead by example. So, and I'm definitely not anywhere near perfect. That's one thing that I think is an important part of showing love or giving love is being authentic to that and being honest with those things. To let especially children know you're not an honest. I mean, you're not a perfect person out the gate because at least when they start, you start being able to have conversations with them. But as far as relationships go, definitely true. You gotta love yourself first because if you don't love yourself, how are you capable of giving love to somebody else? Some people need something to love on in order to feel better. But like you gotta love on yourself. Doggone it. Take that bubble bath. Do some yoga. Meditate. Do things you enjoy. Try things you want to try. And if it doesn't make you feel good, then don't do it. If it doesn't resonate with what's natural for you, then don't do it. That's self love. And then, you know, um, a lot of the times when you become attracted to somebody, or you know, um, you entertain a relationship with somebody, um, you know, uh, it's easier to accept people for who they are and love them for who they are if they are able to do the same thing as well. But they gotta love themselves first. They gotta be a whole person too. So, you know, um, no, I don't think that I agree with the doctor's advice about the children only because I have four of my own, and I loved them before they were born. You know, and I took care of myself while I carried them. So and loved myself while I carried them. You know, no matter what was going on outside of me, I still had to take care of myself. So I think that does play a factor in love. Period.
Um, Me next. Um, I don't have kids, so I can't really say that I am in a situation to agree with the doctor, but I do know that loving yourself first goes a long way because relationships, friendships, somebody that you're in a relationship with. If you don't know how to love yourself first, you'll tolerate anything. You'll put up with anything. Sometimes things can be a learned behavior because people will sometimes blame things on what they're used to. So sometimes being with another person does show you how to love properly. And in the midst of that, you'll learn how to love yourself. I feel like it can go both ways. Um, but I do feel like it's important to love yourself first because you'll definitely put up with just about anything if you feel like, um, you know, that you're not being loved the wrong way. Sorry. If you're being loved the wrong way, you won't really be able to tell the difference if you haven't loved yourself the right way, if you haven't been shown what actual love is. So loving yourself first definitely is a plus.
Well, I would have to tell the doctor that we are way beyond our developmental stages from being a newborn and a baby. So you have to look into our growth. And we are adults looking on the outside. So we have to learn these skills to love ourselves first. It's about learning to love yourself is from being raised in families and being raised around people that gave you that power to love yourself, that gave you that power to accept yourself and gave you strength of self-endurance. You have to have that in order to love somebody else. There's no love for nobody else if you can't take time within yourself and have self-development, and growth. So I have to tell the doctor that we're not babies. You understand? Babies are newborns. They don't know right from wrong. They have to have someone love them to learn what love is. So we have to, it comes up from upbringing. We have to have that in our lives. Because I know people that give their last to people, and I know people that don't take pride in loving themselves and always put other people first. And that's not how you want to go about life, putting other people first. Because you can't gain nothing without receiving nothing to be able to give anything. You have to be able to receive it yourself in order to share it. You can't give it away before you receive it. So you have to have self-love. That's all I have to say.
Well, okay, I'm going to play a couple of roles. Please don't shoot me. But I do believe that when we get into a certain age, we need to start loving ourselves, especially when we are in that teenage years, because teenage years is the hardest years of a person's life. People can say, no, when you turn 20 and you have to take responsibility. Yeah, a couple of years into being an adult and you get used to it, you learn to pay your bills, you start learning, getting your job through, and life goes on regularly. That's what happens. But when you turn into those teenage years where you're in that in between, mommy and daddy is annoying the heck out of me, and then I'm going to school and I'm getting bullied because of who I am. Yeah, that's where self-love needs to be taught. But we also have to understand that the first emotion that a person learns is actually loving someone else, not loving themselves. Because the first words that a father and mother can sometimes teach these kids is, "Do you love mommy? Do you love daddy?" They don't ask these kids, "Do you love yourself? Do you love your hair? Do you love your skin?" And sometimes these kids have those self-doubt because they don't get taught to tell themselves those words early in their stages. And that's one of those issues. So once we start telling our kids to love themselves in an early stage, they start learning that I need to love myself so I can be comfortable with myself so I can make other people happy in the future.
All right, great job, team. Now we're up to the fun Kiki T. And for
Ooh.
Kiki T, I will select ultimately 2 to 3 of these cards, depending on time. And I've sent the cards so we know what they may be.